How can we become leaders who make a difference? How do we make a difference as leaders? This is the next topic we want to address. Think about this statement. And now tell me what you think about this statement. Rather than fighting the status quo and dissipating resources, make it irrelevant by innovating a new way of doing things. Very simple. Yeah, boy. So why do I fight you? It's like competition. I don't need to compete with you. I just have to make sure I would outcompete you by making whatever you are doing, making an improved version of whatever you have. And that's what the Chinese have done. For more than 30 years, we all thought Chinese was a communist country. They didn't have anything to do and all of that. Today, there's no country in the world today that does not import from China. To the extent that many companies, even in America, are now producing from China. There's no phone that comes out without passing through China now. Are we together here? So what Bakfula is saying is that, Minister Fuller is saying is that, there's no need fighting the existing things that we don't like. Let's ignore it. And rather innovate better and refined ways of making that which we don't like become obsolete and irrelevant. Basically, that's it. Okay? Now, but remember we are talking about how do we make a difference as leaders in our organization. That's why I brought this statement here. Now, I want to begin by saying that leadership begins with you. And look at the statement, who you are as a person. This is key. This is key. Leadership begins with you. You cannot be an effective leader if you ignore the focus on you, to put the focus on yourself. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, it is all about the willingness to use yourself as an instrument to get things done. And therefore, if you cannot put yourself as a linkage between the present and the future, if you're not willing to position yourself as someone who wants to envision a better future, then your leadership desire is weak. Alright, so what were we saying here? If you want your team members to follow you as a leader, you've got to be absolutely clear about who you are and what you will or will not stand for, which is to do with your value systems, your principles. We talk about courage. Okay? A personal leadership vision is therefore extremely important. Now, it's unfortunate we live in a time or in systems where if you take 10 people and you ask them, how many of you have a written down personal, even career vision? Out of 10, you probably have only 2. There are many people who don't know where they are heading towards. And yet they find themselves in positions whereby they're supposed to control and lead so many other people under them. True leadership starts with a personal leadership vision of yourself. Very, very important. So, we want to look at 6 techniques for becoming the leader who makes a difference. 6 of them. Okay, number 1, start with a clear and a positive, compelling vision of the future. Once again, J.P. Cotter stated, and he said, leadership is the development of vision and strategies, the alignment of relevant people behind the strategies, and the empowerment of the individuals to achieve or accomplish the vision despite obstacles. So clear leadership, if you want to make a difference, you only make a difference when you start with a compelling, positive vision of the future. In other words, paint a future that is more appealing than the present, and people will follow you. Jesus Christ met Peter by the sea. And he said, come, follow me, and I'll do what? I'll make you fishers of men. Peter was a fisherman. Peter was a fisherman. Jesus met him and he said, come, follow me, and I will make you a fisher of. In other words, Jesus painted a more compelling, positive future of how to fish to Peter. So what did he do? He left what he was doing and went and followed Jesus. When the leader paints a positive, a more compelling, positive future to his followers, the followers have no option but to follow you. Are we together? That's a clear demonstration of leadership. So if you want to make a difference in your department, if you want to make a difference in your company, if you want to make a difference in your church, in your family, in your organization, paint a positive, compelling, and clear vision of the future, and people will follow. Number 2, clarify what great performance is for every member of your team. In other words, every member on your team must know when he has done excellent work. In other words, what is excellent work? And if the person performs an excellent work, how would the person know? Clarify it. So the person knows that I'm doing best, I'm doing well. Good. All right. So, number 3, communicate the right information at the right time. We are talking about how do I make a difference as a leader in my organization. Number 1, develop a vision. Number 2, set and clarify performance objectives. And I've shown you how to do that. Number 3, communicate the right information at the right time. You cannot work with people without direction. And quality direction comes with information. Particularly in the time that we are in now, when everything is changing almost after every 3 months. The leader, number 1, himself has to be updated. The leader himself must know where the industry is going. The leader must understand the level of competition in the industry and thereby be able to adequately inform his team members to keep them on track. And that information you are giving to them must be on time and must be right. Let me ask a question. How many of you have heard this statement before? Knowledge is power. How many of you have heard it before? Knowledge is not powerful. What makes knowledge powerful is getting the right knowledge. So you understand the point? So to say that knowledge is powerful is not true. It's a fact, but not truth. The point I'm making is that as a leader, your articulation of information, particularly in this dispensation, should not just be information, but what? The right information. This is key. What does that mean? That means the leader must go the extra mile to acquaint himself or herself with the right knowledge. That is why when a leader does not read and study and involve himself in continuous learning, that leader becomes a dangerous species. Because you are going to lead a whole generation out of context. Please, this is key. This is key. That is why when you have people who are adamant about continuous improvement and yet they become preoccupied with position and title, they become dangerous more than HIV/AIDS. That means the people you promote in your department, it's not just about how long have they been here. What value are they continuously adding to themselves? I'm told, I haven't done the study myself, but I'm told this time round, every information expires after every 6 months. Not that it expires, but the value of it, if you don't continuously upgrade, it expires. And there are people who finish university today, all they read is graphic and newspaper. and they spend 3 hours on social media. And yet they are leading generations. Number 4, increase your value to the team as a leader. As a leader. Please don't be the leader who says that do as I say, but don't do what I do. That's not leadership. That is criminality. You are a criminal if you are a leader, you behave like that. You are not fit for the role of leadership. Now, increase your value to the team as a leader. How? Let me show you how. Number 1, manage talent, not the personality. Okay? Manage talent, not personality. Be interested in the talents and the skills of the people you lead. Show interest in them as a person. It goes back to the chainsaw. Don't see the members of your team as objects. See them as what? People. And it's only people who have talents and gifts. That is what distinguishes us from animals. So as a leader, if you want to make a difference in the lives of the people, what do? Show interest in their talent. Number 2, solve problems that everyone else is what? Running away from. All right, number 3, create an environment where employees love to come to work from every day. In fact, they actually want to stay because of the environment you have created. Remember what we said earlier on? The 4 ways that leaders show their importance. They leave the environment and the people better than they met them. Okay, number 5, make yourself trustworthy. Make yourself trustworthy as a leader. This is one of the most important things you should never forget for today's class. Make yourself trustworthy. What do I mean by this? What do I mean by this? Listen, gentlemen, leadership influence begins with trust. This is the cardinal point. If you are going to be a leader who is credible, a leader who must be followed, it will be dependent on how trustworthy you are. People do not follow those who don't trust. That's an obvious thing. Trust builds relationships where employees feel confident about following their leader. So when there's no trust, people don't feel confident because I don't know how you're going to behave the next time.